Okay, we're back and dry for a second coat. I think it might be all we need, though I may need to make up a little bit more of that colour, so I'll do that first. Bit of white. Tiniest dot of yellow. We went overboard last time. The tiniest dot of red. Take the edge off things. Maybe even a tiny bit more. Tiny bit more. There we go. Just to warm it up a little bit. Said we're not going to be too worried about wibbly wobbly edge up the top there, we just want a nice straight edge down the side here. And to keep this as smooth as possible. Otherwise the wash will be like any of the, or like the bush, we'll have a line there that we don't really want. If we have too bold of an edge running through our wall. Now I guess it wouldn't matter too much because no wall is perfectly flat, is it? That could add to slight subtle realism. Making a little bit more, since we're not applying it with a wet brush or anything, we're applying it very, very neat. I think we will be making up a bit more. Yeah, before we run out. Don't want to mix too much too separately, especially halfway through, because you don't always get it right on point, and when it dries that's when you see how not on point it is. I had a thing at work not so long back. I was doing just painting a fence, that's all. Make the garden look nice, and I think it was, what was the colour? It was a medium oak, that was it. It was meant, well, it was medium oak. This new, bought this year, tub. So did that, took it as far as I could. Ran shy by about a wall and a half, so found the old tub of medium oak that was just got a few years ago now, but it was still, you know, there was nothing wrong with it, it still had fine consistency and it didn't have an unpleasant smell, which some paints get when they're a little bit past their best. And I started applying it, and as I was applying it to a fence that was half done already in the new medium oak, I was thinking this is a rather red compared to the one I'd been applying, which was really dark in comparison. So I'll compare, perhaps it's just I've applied it too thin, or you know, there's a multitude of reasons that could have been. So let that dry. Just that, I think I did a panel and a half in that, and it was only when it dried that it became crystal clear that even though the tub said medium oak, they were two very different colours, very different. So that one dried, the old tub dried really red, and the new tub dried really rich, dark, deep brown. And the only difference was the new tub said improved colour. Well, that wasn't wholly true, because it was a completely different colour. It did look, the old tub looked more mahogany than oak. Get that line nice and flat, crisp. So yeah, point of the story is finish one panel at a time in one colour, or do what I've done just now and mix it up as you're going so you can get it as close to what you've been using as possible. And don't trust what it says on the top. New and improved quite often means different. So I continued anyway, just to finish the story, and there was about half of this tub left, so I used it entirely on about 3 panels, just to build up the layers, to make it darker and darker, and make that first one blend, so that it didn't look like it was done with 2 completely different colours. And also there's a point to that bit as well. It's like, if you are going to go over with the new stuff or the old stuff or whatever stuff you're currently using. For one, it will help it blend a touch if it is quite different. I'll bring that up a notch so you can see. And yeah, always try to finish what you start. Or just buy another tub. I was trying to be money conscious for the people I was doing it for. Still needs to be finished now. Waiting on some more. By the time I get that, it'll probably be another new and improved colour. Right. I think that is the building done. So we're going to let that dry. And then we're going to go for the wash. And let's have another look at those now that they're fully dry. I'm quite sure we're still going to stick with... Let's cover that up for now. The pale grey with a hint of blue wash. If I can get a sample from back over here. So, first application we're going to ignore because that was streaky as ever, using the wrong brush for the job. Far too dark because you can't see that there's anything behind it. Reluctantly saying far too blue because it's going to end up brighter blue than the sky. This is where we start, sort of down here, we start to move into the right territory. Because especially this one, and even this one, you can see that there's something going on behind, where we've got like the paints that we put down first, the eggshell, or our version of, that we put down first, and then the wash over the top so it hit the paper as well, so you can see the difference. So yeah, ignoring that one, That was the blue-black mix, which I love the colour of, but you can't hardly see that there's a building behind there apart from when it's really streaky. Is this blue? We've got purple, which we're ignoring for a second. So we did that purple blue, which we did back down here, which didn't come out too bad when it was applied right. Tempted. Then we had the blue-black, the just blue, the what ended up grey with a hint of blue in it, the just black, and then these were all tests. Apart from that one was the blue-purple again, just to see, give it a fair shot. And then this one, and this one were all variants of the grey with a hint of blue. Very pale, very watered down grey with a hint of blue. I think this is what we want. Being applied with the right brush. Move that out of the way. And I think what we'll do is we will try very carefully to bring it straight across and over the bush alone, so we don't interfere with the colour of the sky. So that's really nice. Otherwise we'll have to put this right across the board. Or we could just do the water trick, where it's all water up here, so it's very dark down here. Oh yes, but before we do that as well, actually, we will be putting that. We will be putting. I get a little tongue-tied sometimes when I'm trying to get my sentence out too quick. We will be painting, once that's dried, we will be painting our grey, very dark grey rooftop in across there. Then we'll do the wash. And we'll decide whether it needs one or two after that one's dried. Then we'll wipe the cats out again and their tails, which you now can't see, which is good. We don't want to see them. They were just a guide. We have the cats where they are now, so the tails are going to be no problem popping back in. And the moon. We will probably do the moon before we do the cats, because the cats are going to require all of our attention, since we have, you know, they're not fictitious cats, they're not cats made up out of nothing. They've got to look like the images that I've been sent, which will be Midge, the bigger one, the older one of the two, and Bean, the smaller one of the two. And referencing our notes from when we roughly sketched them out way back at the beginning. So I think what we'll also do as far as the actual video content itself goes is, once we have painted this rooftop in and washed the building to bring it back with the rest of the background, that'll be the end of part one. Part two will be whiting the cats, whiting the moon, and doing, you know, the finishing touches. So this is going to take a fair bit of time as it is to try and get these just right. The moon, we've done moons before, so we know what we're doing there. And we will probably go with the pearl paints again, just to add that little glimmer in the sky. So yeah, we're going to have a pause while that dries. I am going to try my hand at tomato soup, since I've got a surplus of tomatoes, like 4 or 5 bags about that big, full of tomatoes of all kinds. I love tomatoes, excuse me, but I am not going to be eating all of those. So, got some ingredients today to try my hand at tomato soup. Also in the future as well, I'll be doing like the odd cooking segment, just because I love food. And I love baking, and I love baking for people. Cooking and baking for people. I like making things look nice and taste nice. So it'll be cool to share that with you all, because that's an art form of itself. A different one, but still I'd consider that an art form in itself. Getting a meal just on point and looking on point. So yeah, back again in a moment. About an hour for me, but a moment for you. Hello, We're back, and we are also back to voiceover. Not quite sure why, probably wrong setting again, because we had that big sound, which we don't want. It's rather obnoxious and annoying. So the second half of this part, I think it's part 5, will be little nuggets of voiceover, courtesy of me getting the wrong setting again, even though I do have a little note to myself, blue tacked, right in front of me, saying checks plugged in and turned on, check mic on right setting. Still managed to mess up. Anyway, this is just a short little clip. Trying to balance these out because the recording seems to be a little bit all over the shop as far as like timing goes, and the segment after this is about an hour long by itself, so I thought we'll just do a little one and then the next one can just be one big chunk, like say about an hour. So yeah, all I'm doing in this part, which I'd have probably mentioned in the first part of this part, we've done the wall, so we're going to do the rooftop. So just a sort of slatey sort of colour, you know, very, very dark grey. So yeah, I'll chip back in if there's anything relevant to say, because I've got no idea what I was saying at the time. I do tend to waffle sometimes. So yeah, hope you enjoy. Well, not a whole lot to add there because it was just a little short one, and it's quite, well, I said what I was doing and that's what I've done. So yeah, I know we are winding to the end of this particular clip right now, so instead of putting end of part 5 up, I can actually verbalise it. It's end of part 5. So yeah, thank you so much for coming by, continuing to check this out. I hope you're enjoying this little series of A Tale of Two Kitties. As it stands, I'm going through the editing process and I've got no idea at the moment how many parts there are. I think I'm roughly halfway and this is part 5, so potentially 10 parts, but we'll see as we go in. So yeah, thank you so much. I hope you're enjoying what you're seeing. I hope you're having a go too. Like I said before in one of the other parts, it'd be cool to hear from you all, see if any of you have done it, hear if any of you have done it, or something similar, or just started painting to begin with, or if you're a master at painting, you've done it loads, you know. Yeah, thank you. Take care and hopefully see you again soon.